So what if the thing holding you back as a composer is not your skills, but the fact that you are living in a bubble? Your own bubble with the most picky client in the whole world, which is yourself. I know from experience this can be very tiring. Many composers obsess over tiny little details, like your strings being 1 decibel too short or a little resonance at 4000 Hz that nobody is gonna care about or even notice, and you're just gonna throw hours into fixing these things and you're gonna go crazy. You're living in this bubble with your own vision on something. The way to break this is by actually getting feedback from other people, not just composers but also people that listen to your music, and kind of learn that that's not really the thing to worry about as much. So are you trapped in your own head with your own biases? I think we all are, and the best way to break this is by talking to other people. You may think that obsessing over a tiny detail can be very good because that way you will master it. And on that I agree, because you will get very good at something if you practice it relentlessly and get very good at it by doing it a lot. But the issue is you also are gonna push yourself into a bubble that's very biased to certain patterns, and that might actually be unproductive when you want to improve even further from that, especially in different areas, which tend to be very important for composing. So let's say you are mastering to get amazing sounding strings, especially in a mix. You get like a perfect room sound and everything. Yes, this may be great, but in the meantime, you've been obsessing so much over that. Well, in fact, it might have been handier to focus on the melody, just for instance. So this does push us in our own bubble. But how are we gonna know if we're all by ourselves obsessing over this little thing? I think this is why you have to let other people in. If you let other people in, they are gonna help you see the bigger picture, because you only have one perspective and you're gonna focus on this one little thing. And with other people looking at the same piece of music, they might have some things that can be very helpful for you. They might be like, yeah, this is great, but the structure is all over the place. I think, yes, the sound is amazing. You got a really nice mix, but this gets very repetitive and boring. Maybe you should change up the theme at the 1 minute mark or something like that. And that feedback, that can actually be something that's going to be way, way more interesting for you. For a big part, this also has to do with trusting others. A very common fear with this is that if you're gonna let other people in, they might be like, yes, this sounds good, this sounds great. And that will make you stop improving. Like, oh no, if they say it's good, then that's gonna stop me from pushing myself to become the best composer in the world. That's not gonna be the case, I promise you. By nature, we are overthinkers, so that's not just gonna change if someone is gonna say that, but their feedback might just dial it down to a more healthy level. Because if you're gonna completely obsess over things, it will make you go insane long term. So this can kind of help you make it all a bit more sustainable. Overall, this all comes down to one thing: trusting others, not just yourself. And now another big important part of this is big picture thinking versus small picture thinking. So let me explain. Big picture thinking. It may be like, does your track evoke the right emotions? And is it written with those emotions in mind? And how does it do this? Does it have a memorable melody or a cool, unique sound? And how does it progress? And how strong does it stand? How is your track structured? Does it get boring over time, or do you keep it interesting? And does your music feel unique and refreshing? Or does it sound perfect but boring? And for examples for small picture thinking, we might have, how do I get rid of this small resonance at 4000 Hz? Oh, this string library doesn't sound as convincing as that other string library. Maybe I should get that one. And maybe I should lay them, blah, blah, blah. Will others notice if I put OTT on this percussion? Those are like small picture things. So it's important to be honest with yourself. How much are you obsessing over these tiny details that nobody's gonna care about? Because if I look back at a lot of tracks that I did, it's probably a lot of time that's better if I had put that into progressing the melody a bit better or structuring the track a bit more interestingly. Those things are probably better use of your time. And I'm not saying you shouldn't put your time into these small picture things. Of course, they do add up and they are important. You shouldn't ignore them. Of course, they do make a difference. They just make a smaller overall difference, and I think it's just disproportionate to what is really valuable for our overall piece of music. I also think it's good to be honest with yourself about how enjoyable it is. What if you're gonna focus on these bigger picture things for a track, and let's say you're gonna focus 80% on these things like the melody, harmony, the writing and structure, and then 20% on like the overall mix and about small details that not many people are gonna care about. Overall, I hear a lot of people say my mix sucks, but it's 99% of the time not their mix that sucks. It's just the orchestration or the writing is just boring or bland. It's really usually one of these things, very common thing. So if you notice that focusing on these bigger picture things for 80% of the time will make the process more enjoyable to you, then I would take this as a normal habit when writing music. If that's not the case, then totally continue with that. I'm just saying it's good to be honest with yourself and like to criticize your own work that way. That way you're gonna notice if it's really your thing to do. And also to add to this, ask other people for feedback and try to see how they react to a mix that might be terrible to you. Maybe just don't mix it, but have cool writing and see how people react to it. So let's say that you're gonna remake the Force theme by John Williams, put it on YouTube, but it's very poorly produced and mixed. There's a good chance that people will still comment, "This is so amazing," and that's always going to be because the writing is just so good. And this is a really interesting perspective because it might make the process for you way less stressful. Sharing your music in the world can be done many different ways. So for instance, you can put it on YouTube, streaming services, you can share your process or the music on TikTok or Instagram. So it's very easy nowadays to get your music out on these places. There's no like quality border. You're not gonna be put off the platform if it sucks. And also it's art, so nobody is gonna be able to properly tell you that. You will probably have some hate comments. You probably have some good comments. These things happen. Right now you're watching a video of me who shared something. And if you're at this point of the video, I'm pretty sure you find it interesting, otherwise you would have clicked to the next video or you would have closed your browser. Inevitably, there will be someone that's gonna enjoy the work. This also applies to music. There will always be some people that do enjoy what you do and what you make, and by sharing it, you're gonna find those people. You're gonna build an audience, but you're also gonna get the feedback that you need. You're gonna hear that what you're doing is pretty good. Just share your stuff. Post your music on YouTube. It's very easy, very low effort. So if you also want, you can distribute it to Spotify, to Apple Music, to Tidal, whatever. And it's also really not too scary. And then also, you can always share the process behind your music or share more than just the music itself. So now for connecting with other composers. Build friendships and grow together. This is a very great thing to do. You can go to someone head on, like you can find a really bigger composer that you admire and learn from him or her and ask them, send them an email. Of course, this is very scary, so you don't have to do this, but you can do this. And the non-scary idea would be to just join a Discord community. Like mine, I have a Discord community. I will put it in the description. You can join for free and you can connect with some other great composers and with me, and yeah, that's also a way to do it. There are a bunch of other places, not just Discord. You have Facebook groups, you have VI Control. I think those are quite weak for this kind of thing. Discord has a lot more strength because it's just very casual and it makes it very easy to find other people that you vibe with. Yeah, that way you can also start building friendships, and the cool thing is if you find someone at your own level, you can really grow together by asking feedback on your music. Feedback is great even if it's someone at your own level or even someone that's still more of a beginner, because that way you get another perspective, and this is extremely valuable because they are thinking differently, they see things differently, they have different experiences in their life, and all of that is gonna overall combine into getting a different view on something that you sent. And the fact that it's so casual is also very nice compared to connecting with people that are above your level, because it can be quite daunting sometimes. I'm still saying it's very valuable, but if you just want someone to chat and have fun with without it being too scary, just find someone at your level, grow together, and eventually build a friendship. So if you do want to approach people head on, I've done this with several amazing composers, I've done this with some labels, and it's been very nice, but my main suggestion would be to stay very humble. Recognize where they are in their journey and recognize that they might be very busy, and they probably are. And stay professional, stay humble, stay kind. You can't grow all by yourself. Look at Frodo with his friend Sam, or look at Luke Skywalker with Leia, Han, Chewbacca, Yoda, all of these people. There are many real life examples as well. Look at Steve Jobs with his partner Steve Wozniak, or look at Eminem and Dr. Dre. They all work hard, but they don't work alone. And with that help and those friendships, real success is being made. So with all of this in mind, my challenge to you is to subscribe to this channel. And once you did that, make some friends. And with that out of the way, post a piece of music, put it on YouTube if you haven't. Maybe if you have, post another one. Maybe obsess less over the mix this time and still see what people think. Worst that could happen is that people don't like it. It's a worthy risk. So don't just trust yourself. Trust others and all of you will thrive.